Hello everyone, I am the Weather Dude. Welcome back, and today we are going to be talking about an upcoming pattern change that will take place across the continental United States. Before I start, however, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications, as those are the little things you can do to help my channel grow. And we're just going to get straight into the video here, starting off first with our current pattern that we have in place, because obviously pattern change, hence the name, there is to be a change in the pattern. And one noticeable change you'll see is the temperatures. So for right now, temperatures are pretty far below average, all right? So let's go, this is at 2 p.m. according to the GFS model here, all right? And you can see some areas, according to this run, are in the purple, like over 20 degrees below average, which is like insane to think about, considering we're in August. But in the general area here, 10 to 20 degrees below average. All right, and then of course across the west, it's a bit warmer than average. So pretty much the west is warmer, the east is colder, sort of thing. This is Tuesday night, pretty much a similar story here. So temperatures a good deal below average, and of course in the summertime we know that feels good, right? A good 10 to 20 below average. But in the wintertime, it doesn't feel so good. All right, just how the seasons work. Look at this, potentially over 22 degrees below average in Virginia, North Carolina by Wednesday afternoon. But you gotta look at it more broadly. Don't focus on a little specific areas, because sometimes it can get a little bit inaccurate. But by Sunday, things do start to change a little bit. We do see like a bigger warm mass coming to the central part of the United States. Southeast and Mid-Atlantic might get a bit warm again. All right, and then the pattern changes, right? This is why we call it pattern flip. So now the east is warm, all right, and the west is, sort of colder now. So the pattern, we sort of had a pattern change here. And again, this is just a GFS model. So we're definitely going to be looking at some other models. All right, and then that's pretty much it. I don't want to go too far out long term. Canadian model, pretty much same thing. All right, so you can see the colder air, and parts of the south central, like for right now, parts of the south central are really feeling it here. GFS was showing a similar thing. All right, with the potentially some areas over 20 degrees below average. All right, and that cold will sit around. I shouldn't say cold. I should say cooler air will sit around even through Thursday morning, according to the Canadian model, across the eastern part of the country. All right, and then by the time we head towards the weekend, especially Sunday, this is like early Sunday morning, like overnight, we start to see some warmer air coming in. All right, and then that's it. That's the last of the Canadian run. All right, so now moving on to the European model now. European, pretty much painting a similar picture here. Again, pretty cold across the east, as you can see here, warm across the west. But then that will eventually change. You can see there's the warm air right here. All right, and even look at Nebraska and Iowa there. 11, 12, 14 degrees above average in some spots, and that will be taking over. Now, as you can see, it's not like heat wave material, not necessarily yet. Like across the east, like 3 to 5 degrees above average. It's not horrible. But again, 10 to 20 degrees above average in the summer, that's like horrible. But 10 to 20 above average in the winter, it could be a refreshing change. All right, so it goes both ways. All right, like the analogy I said earlier. So warmer than average air in the summer, not good. Colder than average air in the winter, not good. But look at this, over 20 degrees above average now across the Great Lakes, according to the European model, potentially next Monday morning. All right, and another way you're going to see changes in precipitation is changes in the pattern are precipitation. All right, and as of right now, according to the CFS model, from August 2nd through August 9th, from the East Coast, especially the Northeast Coast, Mid-Atlantic Coast, back toward the central or southern plains, I should say, like Texas, and you can see, look at the monsoonal flow. And you know what's funny? Looking at this is pretty much exactly where we have flash flood watches right now, in that green zone, which is pretty weird to think about. And that's because we just have a stationary boundary that's just pretty much sitting here over these areas, right? So pretty much right here. That's why the Southwest has been flooding so much. But notice the dry air up in the north still, which there's a pretty big drought in the northern plains right now as well, if you think about it. All right, so this is the 9th to the 16th. Notice those dry air areas in the Midwest, northern Midwest, upper Midwest, do now become above average precipitation. Arizona and New Mexico still a little bit above average. And then dry air potentially for the northwestern part of the United States. All right, and then you can see a bigger change again, but try not to go too far out in time. This pattern changes pretty much for like the next. We're trying to focus on the next 7 days or so. GEFS model. All right, again, similar picture for the southeast. It's going to be really wet. Like we're talking about 3 to 6 plus inches through Friday there. Potentially some areas over 8. So maybe even double digits. So pretty hectic rainfall totals there. But then after that, according to the GFS model or GEFS, after that it'll dry up in that same region. All right, and look at the Central Florida Peninsula, really drying out here. This is for like the early to mid-August. But even look at this. Even right now, this is the 2nd through the 9th. Even through the next week, Central Florida could actually start getting below average again during the rainy season. So that's not good. Although, I mean, not saying Florida should get rain every day, but at least the soils down there can handle it because it's pretty much all sand. And again, looking at the GEPS model, same thing. Above average rainfall for the southeast. Rainy times we're having there right now. Then it kind of turns drier. Pretty much for the same areas that were just in the green. Now become yellow. Then the Midwest, maybe even getting above average. So again, you can see all the pattern changes. All the pattern flip-flops, all right, that we're seeing right now. The colder air you saw in the east, well, that has now been changed, of course, because of the pattern change. Some areas above 70% chance of seeing above average temperatures. Now, remember, just because you're in this zone here, it doesn't mean you're going to be like 30 degrees above average. And if you're in this zone here, that doesn't mean you're going to be like 2 degrees above average. All right, the shade of color does not correlate with the strength of whether it be warmth or cooler air. All right, that just has to deal with the chances you have of seeing any type of warmer or cooler air. So the chances higher doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be more warm, but higher chances of warm air. All right, across the central and eastern part of the U.S., while the southwest and even the northwest do remain cool, as well as Alaska actually. So good for you, Alaska. All right, and looking at the precipitation anomalies, southern half of Alaska potentially above average precip, northern half not so much. Again, looking at the upper Midwest or the Midwest, like I just showed you earlier, above average precipitation, and this is for August 7th through the 11th. Here's your drier air, pretty much in this zone here. So for the Rockies and of course the Southwest, maybe yet again after we get out of our monsoon time. And then the Southeast, maybe even back to there as well. Let's go out a bit further now. So we got August 9th through the 15th. Still pretty much, now it's warm in the west and the east according to the Climate Prediction Center. Little bit of cool air in Arizona and New Mexico, so that's good news. If that were to be correct. On to the 15th, here is our above average precip in the Midwest and East Coast. The western part of the U.S., maybe slight chances of below average precipitation. Oscillations are another thing to take into account. All right, and I like to look at these once we approach the fall and winter. You're definitely going to be seeing me use this a lot more. Negative AO usually means colder air, for the east, warmer air for the west, pretty much flip-flop. And it's cold over here in the east right now, so I would say it's below that zero line. I would say that that's pretty accurate. All right, NAO follows the same guidance as the AO, pretty much. Colder air in the east, warmer air in the west, with a negative NAO, that is. And the reverse is true if NAO is positive. NAO could go positive, all right, over, say, the next couple of days or so, next week. But right now, it is below, not average, but below zero. And it could come back down later. So AO is pretty much, the Arctic oscillation is pretty much staying at the zero line, so really no correlation there. NAO could go above the zero line. And PNA, now PNA, the opposite is true. Positive PNA means there's colder air in the east and warmer air in the west, while a negative PNA means the opposite of that. So look at our positive PNA that we have right now, but notice what happens once we head towards next weekend. Everything, PNAs come back down towards ground level. And of course, that could mean warming up air in the east and maybe even some slightly cooler air for the west. So thank you for watching this pattern change video. There is another tropical disturbance that just formed. Slight chance of development from the National Hurricane Center out in the tropical Atlantic. A lot of activity in Pacific as well. So stay tuned for updates. I am the Weather Dude signing off. Till next time, I will catch you guys in the next video.